How goes the family? Welcome back to Larry's Anything Goes. Hopefully, you guys are having an awesome weekend. Today's discussion is going to be about millennials. Once again, I've been on a millennial kick and I just can't stop talking about my generation because, hey, all the crazy, quirky things that we do. So, in the article I came across, there's another one about millennials. It's talking about millennials don't want to buy baby boomers' sprawling multi-bedroom homes. So, very interesting about this article. So, the millennial generation doesn't want to buy homes of our parents, aka the baby boomers, and in some instances, the Generation Xers. It really stems from a lifestyle choices that millennials make, and this is why. And in the last couple of years, I've noticed this because even though residing in the Northern Virginia area, I've had the chance to travel to my favorite part of the country, the West Coast, and I've seen a lot of millennials living in major cities or suburbs, directly located outside of major cities. And a lot of them couldn't be more happy with just having a little small space, a studio apartment to a one-bedroom house. And I love those old-fashioned one-bedroom homes. So I find that to be very interesting. A lot of times they don't want to own, they just want to rent because they love not having that responsibility. And not having that responsibility actually allows them to have more time to work on their goals and aspirations outside of the job, aka entrepreneurship, aka arts, etc. Traveling more, things of that nature. So that's the one thing I love about my generation. So, but the article really not only talked about that, but it talked about the lifestyles of a lot of millennials not wanting to get married so early, have families, kids, and how they spend their money too. Because a lot of us try to spend our money differently. Because the article made mostly comparisons from baby boomers and millennials. And both generations had different tastes on the kinds of homes that they want. It's interesting. I can't knock that. And the baby boomer generation wanted to buy nice size, large homes, which is nothing wrong with that. I think it's awesome. Most millennials aren't really interested in buying these specific homes in Sunbelt states like Arizona, Florida, and the Carolinas. And interestingly enough, that these homes end up sitting on the market in these specific areas for a long time, and they end up selling at a massive lower price. So whomever the sellers are, a lot of times they're losing money on their homes, and it kind of sucks in that instance. But hey, that's the market, and it goes up, it goes down. You got winners and losers. That's what capitalism is. So it is what it is. Millennials tend to wait longer to get married, like I stated earlier, and have children, and are more prone to spending their money on health, wellness, experiences. I definitely agree with all that because I fall in that category of trying to be more health conscious, quality of life conscious, and when it comes to traveling experiences, like I can't wait to travel outside of the United States and have more experiences with different cultures and get different perspectives. So I find stuff like that to be very interesting, and not just to living the regular 1950s and 60s lifestyle, which is nothing wrong with that, but we're all different and we all want different things, and as long as we all respect what we want, I think we can just go from there instead of everybody being so judgmental. But that's just my personal opinion, so I can definitely appreciate that. The real estate market is changing because millennials are not buying homes, even though a lot of them do not want to pay high rents in the major cities. So you have some that don't mind paying the high rents, and there's some that don't. I have a buddy of mine who's been living in Arlington, which is a city outside of Washington, D.C., for probably over a decade now, when you think about it, and he loves it. Wouldn't trade it for the world. And it's just all about what you want and what you can afford and what you're willing to pay. It is what it is. So a lot of millennials don't mind facing the 2-hour commute like our counterparts of the baby boomer, the Generation X societies. However, millennials will not buy homes that they're living in because a lot of times they don't want that responsibility when something wrong goes with homes, because it is a responsibility. Homes that were built for large families before 2012 are collecting dust in a lot of parts of the United States. And at a discount, a lot of these homes are turning into, like say a great example, if a house is $250,000, $350,000, a lot of times they're being sold $20,000 to $30,000. In some instances, $50,000 less than those specific prices because the houses are sitting on the market for a year. And obviously, if you're trying to sell the house and if you're the real estate agent, it's not looking good. But that's a whole nother subject for another day. So most people realize now that millennials tend to make more different lifestyle choices than their counterpart generation. So where does the real problem stem from? Most people would ask. I say you have a lot of boomers retiring, and not only me, but the article stated this as well. You have a lot of baby boomers retiring, looking to downsize their lifestyle, which is very smart. because obviously most times, unless you're rich, your money starts getting a little shorter, or your money's getting funny, as people would say. It makes sense because when you get older, you want to have less responsibilities. I mean, you don't want more. You want less responsibilities, and you want to have more of a life that you don't have to vacation from, and you want to be able to have more of a relaxation time and do whatever you want time, and not as many crazy debts as a lot of people are getting nowadays. So that you have two generations who want more modern and prefer more walkable areas instead of living miles away from retail areas. Great example. I'll put myself in this category. Like me living in Riverside, California, it's a beautiful community, one, but two, there's so many things I can do within a 20 to 30 minute radius, and I don't have to go to the city, go to Los Angeles, go to San Diego for fun. I can actually be in my county or the surrounding counties, and if I want to see a concert, if I want to go to any festivals, real festivals too, not this Northern Virginia nonsense, and go to see a comedy show. So I got the best of both worlds. I can do all that stuff. Or if you have a family in that community and you want to do family stuff, you can do that as well. So you have the best of both worlds, and you don't have to go to the major city in order for you to have a good time. And a lot of millennials want that. You know, they don't want to have to sit in hours worth of traffic, pay ridiculously overpriced drinks and food and parking just so they can go have some fun. You know, that's just not the lifestyle for a lot of millennials. So I totally get it, you know. So it's just one thing to keep in mind when it comes to the millennial generation. And now let's get back on course, because I could rant about that for ever and a day. And another thing, you know, a lot of young buyers, they do not want outdated designs, you know, so if the properties do not have clean lines and open floor concepts, you know, the young buyers are not in the islands and all that stuff I just mentioned, I could care less about. To me, if the place is clean, it's in decent shape, you know, if the paint job is good, or the wood is decent and the carpet's in good shape, I'm a happy camper. But I watch HGTV sometimes, and it just boggles my mind when I see crap like that, and I'm just like, maybe it's just because how I was raised. I have a more humbling mindset when it comes to specific things. But I can understand you spend a lot of money on a house, especially with HGTV. People spend up to $700,000 to $800,000 or $2 million on a home. So if you spend that kind of money getting a home, I get it. You want to get what you want to get. So I understand that completely. But another thing with the millennial generation is you have a lot of a minimalist lifestyle, which I fall in the same category too. A lot of us don't care about the expensive cars. A lot of us don't care about the expensive radios because we have our cell phones, so we, and computers, so we don't really need all that. Overly ridiculous amount of furniture, things of that nature. We're more simpletons, and I like that. And I think it's a good thing. But then the downside of it is a lot of times is that it affects the economy because you don't have as much consumer spending going on. So minimalist aspects, I found it that I get older, and I quote this from a good friend of mine, the older I get, the less stuff I need, and I couldn't agree with that more, because when I was a teenager, I had way more crap than I do now, and I wasn't even a spoiled teenager. So it's just, my mindset is if I don't need it, I don't keep it, so I could just end up giving it to somebody else, and that's cool, because somebody else might need it. It's like, hey, it's like, one person's trash is another person's treasure, and there's nothing wrong with that. It's not that serious to fall in the category of I gotta have all this stuff for no reason just so I can try to impress people. That's how you go broke, and that's how a lot of people go broke, because of the over massive consumer spending and things of that nature. But another subject for another day. Millennials are a big generation of renters who would like to buy a home one day. And that, let's be realistic. Owning a home is a good thing, especially if you want to be an investor on any level and have some sort of a nest egg so your money doesn't just go to waste to a landlord. So I get it. I'm not knocking people who want to be homeowners. I'm not knocking people who don't want to be homeowners. But at the end of the day, you got to wake up and say, am I happy with this lifestyle I'm in? Am I happy on the trajectory of my life? And if I'm not, how can I go about changing the trajectory of my lifestyle? So you're the one that's got to look yourself in the face in the mirror every day. I get it. And my mindset is this: as long as if you're paying for if you're a working person and you're paying to live someplace, then darn it, you better love paying for that place that you're living in. I mean, I just look at it like that. Most people live where they can afford to live, so there's nothing wrong with that at all. And the article stated that millennials are likely to pay 39% more than Boomer and the Generation X's generation paid in the 1980s and 90s for a home. Most people know, unlike previous generations, millennials has record levels of student loan debts, which is still crushing and killing people. And hopefully just do your best to get that paid off before anything. It's crazy, and it's making it even harder for people to even obtain a mortgage because they don't want to be able to have to pay those two different debts. And a lot of times people get turned down because the credit is so bad. I think they're trying to change this now, but the credit's so bad because of the student loan debts that they can't qualify for a loan. So, and that's another thing that's hurting the economy and hurting the real estate industry. So it's one of those things. And all this makes sense that when millennials can finally afford to buy a home, they will hold out for something that fits their taste, fits their lifestyle. So I totally get it. That's why I was like, I'm not completely crapping on HGTV people, because I understand that you're paying a lot of money to be in this place. Like I just stated earlier, you're paying to live in a place you better freaking like it. So especially if you're spending a lot of money to do it. If it's a cheap place to live in, that's a different story. So I guess that the new home and real estate, real estate owners, homeowners, and real estate developers are just going to have to keep one thing in mind when developing. A lot of them are, smart, way smarter than me. So I give them a lot of credit. But they're keeping this in mind, and that's why you see a lot of these town center options popping up in a lot of suburban communities. Because as you see right here, a lot of millennials don't want these old homes or newer homes, because you got the older one on top and the newer one on the bottom. They don't want those homes. They don't need all that space. They want to be able to walk to the restaurant, to the bar, to the store. They want to be able to just have minimal items and whatnot in their place and less responsibility. Have a place where they can just hang out and have fun and not just have to picket fence. A lot of people are walking away from that lifestyle, and I get it. It's your money, and you got to do what you got to do to make yourself happy. So I'll leave it at that. So that's one thing I would look into, especially given the fact that you have a lot of baby boomers retiring. So a lot of them are downsizing to smaller places too, which I get, because having a big home is a responsibility, and it's something you got to be ready to take on and ensure that you have money in the bank account when that time comes, because something will always break down eventually. So if you own it, you got to take care of it, just like a business. If you own it, you got to take care of it. So like that's all for today. I love this meme because definitely, obviously, so that's all for today. If any questions, please leave it in the comment section. Please like, please share, please engage, because I don't just like to talk. I love to listen to people's perspectives all at the same time, because I'm not 100% correct, and I always love to learn, because I learn something new every day. Because if I didn't, then I will have failed for the day. You guys take it easy. Thanks again for supporting me. I know I kind of went through this pretty fast, but as they say, duty calls and business calls, and I got business to do, so I'll see you later. Take care.